Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all our viewers from wherever location you're tuned in. Happy for another episode of The Point, where today we are hosting a man who need no introduction. But for the benefit of our global viewers who do not know, perhaps might not know him, I'll give him a chance to introduce himself in a bit. Daktari, karibu.
Asante sana. Duncan.
Could you please, for the benefit of those who do not know you, tell us who is Daktari Ekuru Aukot?
Okay, so I'm Ekuru Aukot, as he rightfully said. I'm a lawyer by profession. Also very keen on matters politics and governance, both nationally and internationally, meaning the region of Africa. I was involved in writing Kenya's constitution as the CEO of the committee of experts. I've consulted in a number of African countries on matters constitution, including South Sudan, Lesotho, Liberia, Somalia, and a few other countries. The Arab, Egypt, Tunisia, back in the days when after the Arab Spring. And currently I'm also the party leader of Third Way Alliance Kenya, a political party that is interested in the idea of alternative leadership from what we are usually used to. We're running away from tribal politics, regional politics, and trying to inject the idea that can politics be different. Transformative leadership, basically.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daktari, for that introduction for the benefit of those who do not know you. And that makes a case for the basis of our conversation today, given that at the point we host guests who are basically thematic or topical or right holders and duty bearers to have a conversation on a number of issues that affect the country. And our main objective for having this conversation at the point is basically to inform, educate, and impact lives. Mm-hmm. That's why we are much more honored to have you on this show. Mm-hmm. So you've indicated that you are part of the team that literally wrote this constitution that we are having in this country. Mm-hmm. From an observer's perspective, given that you have a hindsight of all these issues, do you think we are on the right track towards implementing the constitution the way the framers of the constitution desired?
Well, first of all, let me just say, Duncan, that there is really no perfect constitution anywhere in the world.
Yes.
And the idea of constitution carries two major principles: the letter and the spirit of
yes.
it. Okay?
Yes.
So that even when the letter, say, is not too clear,
yes, but
there is that spirit. What was the intention
of the drafters,
yes, or even the country itself,
yes,
when it says that we are giving ourselves this constitution? And you need to start from the preamble.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
That this is our intention.
Yes.
As a society, as a people.
Yes.
You know, even when the letter is not too clear.
Yes.
But what was the intention of the drafters? What was the intention of the people of Kenya when they passed this constitution? The truth for the matter is, Kenya's constitution is lauded to be one of the most progressive. And you can check this from a website called constitute.org.
Yes.
And you'll find about 194 constitutions in the world. And you will see that there are certain genius things that Kenya constitution process actually came up with. For example, the question of leadership and integrity.
Yes.
Very few countries in the world, if any actually, to my recollection, decided this is the character and type of leader that we want.
Yes.
So that when a leader occupies a public office, he brings respect to that office.
Yes.
He then respects the people.
Yes.
But from that point of view, and this is one of the questions I've never been able to answer with all my travels and consulting on matters constitution, people have asked me, Ekuru, but you guys, one of the geniuses of your constitution is chapter 6.
Yes.
This idea of a certain type of leadership. Yeah?
Yes.
But how come you guys elected two ICC suspects as president and deputy president? Yeah, at that time.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
But also they say, yes, you seem to condemn corruption. Corruption is so, it's like the middle name in Kenya.
Yes.
Yet you have got this chapter that says, elect certain type of leaders who, when they occupy that office,
yes,
it brings
honor to that office.
Yes. Yes. So how come? I've never been able to answer that. Okay. And therefore, you can say that to that extent, of the kind of leaders that we elect, in order to be able to champion the aspirations of the people of Kenya in the constitution, I think we have failed. Okay. That extent we have failed. Because even if you look at, for example, Parliament, the way Parliament today is operating,
like an appendage of the executive.
Their allegiance is more to the president. Not the people who actually sent them to Parliament. So to that extent, representation as espoused in the constitution is actually failing. Because I mean, if you look at some of the characters we have, say, in the executive, the truth for the matter is some people are charged with serious crimes, including murder. But they now are part of the executive that are supposed to champion an arm of government that this constitution says, this constitution protects. If you go to devolution, we are now talking more about recurrent expenditure than actually development. Yet this constitution has been, been praised as one of the most developmental constitutions in the world, which is true. When we were writing it, we had that idea: how do we transform Kenya? And that's why we came with the idea of devolved units. And we even defined what are national functions and what are devolved functions. Okay, but you can see when you read the Auditor General report, to be honest, it's like we devolved theft, corruption. The grassroots. We devolved theft. Actually, I don't know in Doluo or in Turkana. What is corruption? But if you say somebody is a thief, we can easily relate to it. Because when you steal public money, what have you done? If you cannot account for public money, you've stolen it. You've stolen. So I think to that extent, you can actually say the spirit of the constitution is there. It only lacks people to implement it, especially at the very top. So that for me is the biggest challenge to this constitution.
I hear you, Daktari, to be speaking to the effects of what I'm sure your teacher, the late Professor Hastings Aukot Ogendo, talked of. You can never have a constitution without constitutionalism. So Kenya is known to be a country that is full of robust legislations. But what is lacking is the implementation. Would we say, are we having a shortage of good leaders? Is it a leadership problem or is it a citizen problem?
To be honest, I think it's both. I think we have a leadership crisis in this country, where our leadership, in my view, and I hope I'm not using very strong terms, is actually attracting the deplorables.
The leadership is attracting deplorables.
Yes, the worst. And because we have commercialized politics in Kenya, so that today, the people of Kenya themselves, when they are going into election, they are not looking at the value of a leader. What are the principles? What does this leader stand for? How will it change our society? They are looking at money. Meaning our politics, Duncan, has been commercialized. So it's who has money. When I ran for president in 2017, some of the people who actually criticized me the most are friends. And they asked me, Ekuru, are you crazy? I say, why? Why am I crazy? Just because I'm offering myself? If at the age of 18, I can be considered an adult and I can even marry. So what is special about the presidency? And back in the days, you can only run for president of Kenya at the age 35. We removed that. So as an adult, I'm capable of doing anything. And if you can trust me, like I remember asking some of them, if you guys trusted me to actually spearhead the writing of the Constitution of Kenya, what's so special about the presidency? And it is friends actually will tell you, and of course, the question of ethnicity kicks in. They say, but Ekuru, you're from a very minority tribe called the Turkana. What numbers do you have? So that defines the character of the Kenyan people when it comes to politics. And that's what has made me believe that, or confirm that we actually have a leadership crisis in Kenya. Because then the people who are installing leaders into power themselves have been corrupted in their thinking. That it's money, it is tribe, it's the region you come from, so that becomes the persuasive factor. And that's why we end up with the wrong people. And that's why you can see the constitution is at the risk of being implemented. Today, in 2022, the two biggest coalitions, Azimio la Umoja and Kenya Kwanza.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Azimio la Umoja had majority.
Yes.
After election.
Mm-hmm.
But Kenya Kwanza, because of money,
yes,
went and bought some of the parties that were supporting
to weaken
the opposition in parliament.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That therefore means that whatever misdirected policies Kenya Kwanza or President William Ruto wants to pass, yeah,
we'll always see the light of the day. For
example,
yes,
on the housing levy,
yes,
courts decided it's unconstitutional.
Yes.
And you know, if you had, say, members of parliament who are actually respectful of the electorate, they will then look at the context.
Yes.
Because as we lawyers say, context is everything.
Yes.
Without context, you cannot make law.
That is
you
true.
cannot legislate.
That is true.
You cannot even enforce law.
Yes.
Now, why am I saying context in the context of this housing levy? If you look at the typical Kenyan worker,
yes,
or civil servant, they have invested in building at least a rural home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Or they have invested in a mortgage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you have a policy, a very ill-advised policy by government, that we are going to deduct 1.5%
yes,
from your salary.
From the salary.
Then the employer also does the same thing.
Yes.
If I have a mortgage commitment,
yes,
I build myself a home, my retirement home.
Yes.
So these homes,
to double jeopardy.
Exactly.
Yes.
These homes you're telling us to build. So how am I going to benefit from it? You know. So if you had legislators who will then look at that context and debate it, yeah, then they would not have passed the housing levy.
Correct.
We, for example, have the question of Haiti, and I'm sure maybe we'll come to that.
Yes, we'll come to that.
Yeah, where we have got a security deficit in our own country. Today there are schools.
Yes.
That have
remained closed.
Yes. Because of insecurity issues.
Yes.
Yeah. But here we're saying we have the luxury of taking 1,000 police officers to go and face over 200 gangs.
Yes.
Armed with sophisticated weapons.
Yes.
From the US.
Yes.
That is now prodding us and pushing us as a country to say, let's go and fix these gangs. You know?
Yes.
Why are we interfering with another black nation? I mean, I sympathize with the situation in Haiti.
So Daktari, talk to us on this, because I know the party which you have the honor of leading, the Third Way Alliance, took this matter to court and got a judgment in your favor that declared the planned deployment unconstitutional. But the government seems to be proceeding with its intentions. Where does this leave Kenyans in the wake of all this?
So I think the fundamental question there, Duncan, is that unfortunately in the country, again going back to the question, the crisis of leadership, we have a president who is belligerent,
yes,
has no respect for the rule of law, or even the constitution. He says, "I will." When he was being sworn in, he said, "I will protect, uphold, and respect this constitution."
Constitution, yes. Yeah?
And he has said it clearly that he does not care,
yes,
whatever court orders come from the courts.
Yes.
So he has no respect for the other arm of government, which is the judiciary,
yes, because
he has since emasculated the legislature, which he controls, now an appendage of the executive. Yes. Yeah. So that is a crisis we are facing. Now, on this issue of Haiti, when we were doing the constitution, writing the constitution in 2010,
yes,
2009, 2010,
yes,
it was Kipra, which is a government parastatal,
yes, that
actually came up with a study. And they told us as a committee of experts, we need to change the way in which we see the police. That time, remember, it was called the police force.
Police force.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they recommended it to be called a national police service that must only operate within the jurisdiction of the Republic of Kenya. So when we were crafting Article 240 of the Constitution, yes, we then distinguished between the defense forces and the National Police Service. And we said that the defense forces will be under the command of the National Security Council.
Yes.
Okay. Where basically the president is the commander-in-chief.
Is the commander and the chair of the
chair of that nation. Then we said the police, because it's a service to the people of Kenya,
yes,
will put it under the command of the Inspector General of Police.
Yes.
The IG.
Yes.
So that even when you read the Constitution, I think from Article 249, 238,
39, yes.
The command is absolutely with the IG, the Inspector General.
Yes.
Not even the Prime Minister not even the president or the minister for interior
yes.
can actually command. Yeah, he actually has no powers.
Yes.
Constitutionally.
Yes.
And Justice Chacha Mwita ruled, I mean, judged in his judgment, he declared that if the framers of the Constitution intended that somebody else other than the IG will command the police,
nothing would have been easier than for them to say that.
Yes, yes. And they said that's why we separated between the defense forces and the National Police Service.
Yes.
Now, coming to the law, which they are trying to rely to circumvent the Constitution. And you know, in the hierarchy of laws, of course, the Constitution is the supreme law.
Supreme up there.
Then there's your statutes, you've got rules and all that, customary, whatever, you know. So the Constitution is supreme.
Yes.
And that is explained in Article 2, supremacy of the Constitution.
Yes.
Yeah, so that any other law, whatever rule is inconsistent with this Constitution, you know, is null and void.
To the extent of the nullity.
Yes. Now, what they're trying to rely on is sections 107, 108, and 109 of the National Police Service Act. Okay?
Yes.
And those sections say the president may, very discretionary, may deploy, but upon satisfying himself that the requesting country has laws similar to ours.
Yes.
So that if our police are offering this service, wherever they may be, in terms of their conduct, maybe how they will even be punished if they commit an offense, it is similar to our laws.
Yes.
And then, of course, the sections go further to say that there has to be a reciprocal agreement between us and the requesting country.
The principle of reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
Yes.
And then, of course, thirdly, that reciprocal agreement must be gazetted.
Yes.
Meaning now the people of Kenya will have to have a say. Oh, we are taking away your national service called the police. Do you have a say? And that's when now Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya, National Values and Principles of Governance, kicks in. Public participation.
Correct.
And the courts have since said public participation cannot just be cosmetic.
Yes.
It has to be meaningful public participation. Yes. So now, as the president, did the president receive a request from Haiti?
No evidence has been adduced to us as the people of Kenya.
And the judge said, you did not present any evidence of a request.
Yes.
You've not gazetted. Yeah?
Yes.
And secondly, we don't even share any diplomatic relations with Haiti.
Yes.
We don't. There is no embassy, Kenyan embassy in Haiti. There is no Haitian embassy here in Kenya. You know? And why is the president not publishing this reciprocal agreement? Okay? But again, coming to the point I made earlier, do we really have the luxury as a country to deploy our police service outside to fix another country? Because we are saying we are going to bring law and order in Haiti. Do we have law and order in Kenya? Especially in some pockets of this country, even here in the cities. I was in a show the other day with my area MP, Elachi, Beatrice Elachi. And Beatrice was telling me that, and she said it openly on national TV, that even to walk just in Kilimani area now is very dangerous.
Yes.
You know, it's border, there are muggings, there are gangs and all that. So why are we not seeing deployment of police to keep law and order on our own streets? Yeah, in the estates. You know, Baringo North is burning. Lamu, yeah, Mombasa, Kisauni, those areas. Things are going haywire. Why are we not seeing deployment? So I think all this issue of deployment to Haiti is very laughable. And by the way, before I finish on Haiti, so it's important that the viewers understand a little bit of history of Haiti.
Yes.
By the way, this is a country that has since killed 4 of its presidents.
Yes.
Including the founding father.
Yes.
Yeah. You can imagine it's like now walking in the State House in Nairobi to kill Ruto. Yeah? Not that I wish him to be killed by anyone, but that's the gravity of the situation.
Yes.
These guys have killed 4 presidents so far. There are over 200 gangs in Haiti.
Who are ex-military,
ex-police and all that. But to the question of a requesting country, who requested? And this is where I think Kenyans and viewers must know.
Yes.
The person who purportedly made the request was illegitimate in office. Ariel Henry, the Prime Minister, who has since resigned, by the way, was appointed just 2 days, was actually nominated for appointment as a Prime Minister by Jovenel Moise to 2 days thereafter, they killed Juvenal Moise. Okay?
Yes.
And there's even a report that actually implicates him.
Yes.
So, even assuming, he could assume the presidency of Haiti. Presidency, I mean the premiership of Haiti.
Yes.
Okay? Even assuming.
Yes.
He was only supposed to be there under the constitution of Haiti for 120 days.
Yes.
Within which period he organized for an election.
Just to stabilize things.
To stabilize things.
Level for elections.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because according to the constitution of Haiti, only an democratically elected president can make a request for foreign troops to be in Haiti.
Deployed to Haiti, yes.
A prime minister cannot. Yeah.
Yes.
And this man, it looks like he organized for the killing of that democratically elected president. So the fundamental question for us Kenyans is, why is our country participating in an illegality?
From the onset.
From the onset. Right from the very beginning.
Yes.
So even the person who purported to have signed a reciprocal agreement here the other day was illegal in office. And, you know, as you say in law,
yes,
you must have capacity to enter into an agreement.
That is true.
Into a contract.
Yes.
Ariel Henry did not have capacity from the very beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. He stayed in power 3 years, for 3 years, against the constitution of Haiti. So why are we as a country, or our president, encouraging an illegality? You know, maybe we should not be surprised, because I mean, Ruto himself is trying to legitimate himself. That's why he works from Kenya most of the time.
Okay, thank you, Daktari. You have spoken to a number of issues this far, and one of the things that when I indicated to my viewers that I'm hosting Daktari, they put a number of questions they wanted me to that you clarify for them for their benefit. You've spoken to the fact that as a country we have a robust constitution.
We do. Very progressive, actually.
Progressive constitution. Yeah. We have what you have is a leadership crisis. I want you to apply your mind on this issue of 2/3 gender rule. From the perspective of the person, what was in mind when you crafted it? And 10 years later, do you still hold the same views that you held then? And again, specifically, there was some attempt, even with the constitution, there was some attempt to address it at the county level, especially the nominated MCS, the top up to fit the threshold required. But that was deliberately missing at the national government. So speak to us about the intention then and what you're seeing now. And also, towards the end of your submission on that same aspect, I want to hear your thoughts, or our viewers would want to hear your thoughts. Do you hold a view that Kenya is overrepresented or underrepresented, or we are optimally represented? Daktari.
Maybe I can start with that.
Correct.
I think the truth for the matter is we are overrepresented. We undertook a study when we were introducing the Punguza Mizigo Constitutional Amendment Bill of 2019. And in that bill, we looked at the representation globally.
Yes.
For example, the United States of America has a population of at least 350 million people at that time. And they only have 535 elected representatives.
Yes.
Meaning one person represents about 625,000 people, if I get my maths correct. Then we looked at one of the oldest democracies in the world, by the way, India.
Yes.
With a population of about 1.3 billion
yes,
people.
By then, yes.
Yeah, it has 800 and something representatives for both houses of Congress and the Senate.
Yes.
Meaning in India, one person represents about 1 point something million people.
Yes.
Then we also looked at one of the other populous country, China.
Yes.
Which gives us a lot of money, and you know, it has a population. That time it was a population of what, 1.3 or 1.4?
Yes.
I don't know, thereabouts. And it only has 1,200 elected representatives.
Yes.
Now, when you come to Kenya, at that time we are doing a population of what, 50 million people, maybe thereabouts, but we have got 439 representatives.
Yes.
So if you do the math, and you are the economist here, you can help me. In terms of representation, we are 400% over.
We call it representation per capita.
Per capita.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can we afford that? And this is why. Let's look at it from a broader perspective. We have 47 counties.
Yes.
I doubt there is any time I, Ekuru Aukot, at Turkana, will go and run in the county of Siaya or Homa Bay and become a governor.
Yeah? Unless we join ODM, their local party.
No, even local politics may not even allow. Or me going to Mandera or Ajir,
become a governor. Yes.
So
zero chance.
So already the way we had crafted the 47 counties, it was actually representation.
Yes.
So today, a Luo cannot go to Turkana, even if he desires, he may not be elected as a governor. So that's already representation. So the 47 counties of Kenya are actually representative of the people of Kenya.
Yes.
Now, let's go to the 1,450 wards.
Yes.
Again, very localized representation.
Yes.
Now, the question that we posed, do we need 438? Is it 438?
Yes.
At the national level.
Yes.
That is Senate and the House National Assembly.
Yes.
We don't need. And as you can see clearly, as evidence now is showing, it's not a working house. It's a house that's being manipulated. It's just a money-making venture.
Yes.
So yes, to answer your question, we are overrepresented.
But coming from someone who guided the writing of the Constitution, is this something that, is it a reflection that came later?
You know, the truth for the matter, Duncan, is that sometimes they say only fools don't change their minds.
And they did.
Yes. I think there was a degree of naivety
at that time.
Yes. We truly believed as a committee of experts that Kenya was in the cusp of renewal. Yes, because the constitution making process just came immediately after the post-election violence of 2007 and 2008.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So we honestly believe that Kenya had learned a lesson.
Yes.
Because I think that was the first time.
Yes.
We saw mass murders in Kenya after election.
Yes.
Actually, that had never happened before.
Yes.
Yeah. So we thought, I think we are changing, and so we had this conversation, and we went around the country asking Kenyans, "What do you want?" You know, and one of the biggest questions was leadership.
Yes.
That's why Chapter 6 actually became one of the geniuses of Kenya's constitution making process, because it's the Kenyans who are saying, because of our history, of our past, and where we want to go, these are the kind of leaders we want.
Who would take us there?
So, indeed, we honestly believed at that time that. And you know, we had a very big debate. I don't know, you may have read, may not have read the what they call it, the hybrid version of the Constitution of 2009 November, which we published. We are very strict, including on questions. Corruption. Yes. They even suggested that the entire judiciary resigns and we start afresh. Yeah, and that's what Kenyan said. Because remember, in 2003, there was that radical surgery of the judiciary by Ringera. Okay, and the phrase was, if I can hire a judge,
why hire a lawyer?
Why hire a lawyer?
Yes.
You know, so there was absolute desperation. So we had a big debate with Kenyans, and we thought, okay, fine. You know, there are two theories also sometimes in constitution making. You can either be very prescriptive or just principles. Ours took almost a hybrid
of both.
Yeah. Yes. Because, for example, on matters of corruption, we were so radical. Yeah. Because we thought this is one of the issues that are really affecting this country.
Yes.
So, like the judges, you know, it's the judges actually who came and said we need to be vetted. Don't blanketly punish all of us.
The institution is corrupt.
Yes,
without
evidence.
Yes.
So we said, okay, fine. We, constitution making is a negotiated agreement.
Yes.
Yeah. You bring your views, I bring your views, and sometimes, actually, many times, you have to compromise.
Yes.
And I think in that compromise is where the mischief came.
Yes.
That we overlooked certain things because we believed.
Yes.
Kenya was changing,
and was at the cusp of renewal.
That's what we honestly believed.
Yes.
that's what we honestly believed.
Yes.
But now we know. Yeah? Yes. We could have probably gone further, and that's why when I introduced the Punguza Mizigo Constitutional Amendment Bill of 2019, I was strictly addressing certain issues to strengthen the constitution. And by the way, like I started saying, there is really no perfect constitution in the world.
Yes.
Okay. That's why you have all the articles that allow you to change your constitution. Article 255, 256, and 257 of the constitution. So meaning, people can now go back to the drawing board and say, well, on this particular issue, I think we need to address it.
Yes.
For example, you raise the issue of the third gender rule. You know, what stops the president of the Republic of Kenya in appointing the executive where he can actually meet that two-third gender and even say going 50-50?
There's nothing that stops him.
Nothing stops that. In terms of nomination, talk about nominations. Nomination is done by the parties.
Yes.
So the parties or the leadership of those political parties, nothing stops them from saying, no, we are going to do 50-50.
Yes.
Even nominating to the county assembly.
Yes.
Again, you see, not everything is constitutional, Duncan, as you know.
That is true.
Yeah?
That is true.
Some things can be legislative.
Yes.
Others can be administrative.
Yes.
And you will still achieve the intent.
Correct. Of the constitution.
Of the constitution.
Correct.
That spirit.
But while still on that.
And for me, our proposal in Punguza Mizigo was we do away with this overrepresentation.
Yes.
So that we elect one woman, one man from all the 47 counties of Kenya.
Yes.
Then when you invoke article, that will bring us 94 elected, where you can actually achieve 50-50 balance in a house. Now, when you invoke article 100 of the constitution, that's on nomination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are those three categories: women, youth,
disability,
and all that. Again, you make it one man, one woman, one man.
The 50, the parity. Yes.
Parity. That will have achieved in the National Assembly. Will have achieved 50%.
Yes.
50-50 representation. Yes. And we'll be able to kill, by the way, Duncan, this issue of two-third gender rule, because this two-third gender rule, the definition on the ground is that always the women must be the third.
Yes.
Why not the other way around?
Yes.
So it's always about women being the third.
That was a desirous. That is why we desire to go. But what we have currently.
But the intention also was, Duncan, you know, we had come from a history where women were discriminated in leadership.
Yes.
Okay. Where it was difficult to elect a woman. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because also our politics is violent. Yeah.
Yes.
So we said no. We need to give women a platform.
Yes.
And that's why we deliberately created 47 county women representatives.
Correct.
County MPs.
And I was asked to ask you on this. What was difficult in doing what you did with the equalization fund, where it is a sunset clause? Why didn't you, the framers of the constitution, thought of putting the role of women representative as a sunset clause, so that by the time the country takes stock of what has happened, because some of the women have become governors, some have become MPs, so it seems it's serving the purpose.
It is serving the purpose.
Why? What was difficult in putting? This is the question from the viewers. What was so difficult from putting a sunset clause on that particular aspect of women?
You know, as you know very well, that we are actually a very patriarchal society.
Yes.
And given the chance, we will suppress the weakest in society.
Correct.
Or people we perceive to be the weak.
Yes.
Not that I'm saying women are weak. Women are not weak. Yes. But when it comes to politics, nature, our character as a society is that we don't look at women as leaders.
Yes.
And that's why for us, we went and deliberately created these 47 positions for women.
Yes.
And you see, with that, now it has even encouraged, now we have women governors, we have women senators, which was not really, it was a preserve of men.
In those days.
Not even conceivable. So now you can see society is actually changing. But I must also say, I'm a little bit disappointed with the women representatives. Yeah? Yes. Because you can see their allegiance is more to the party and the party leadership.
Daktari, thank you so much for the conversation we've had this far. And we also take this opportunity to thank our viewers. And for those who have not subscribed, we ask you to subscribe so that we are able to be part of this conversation. We thank you so far for this support. Daktari, you were making a point as to why we know constitution is made within a given context, and it's always a give and take, and that is what perhaps necessitated what the product we ended up serving as a constitution. Would you kindly speak to us about the state of the nation from where you're sitting or where you're standing? What is the state of the nation as it is currently?
See, Duncan, that's a very important question. I've always said that to understand the state of the nation, you have to look at the state of the person that actually forms that nation.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
The nationals of that country. And I like to use very simple examples, Duncan, so that then you can see exactly what is the state of the nation of Kenya. Because the state of the nation is not an abstract reality.
Correct.
It's about the people.
The people.
Yeah.
Who form that nation.
Who form that nation.
Correct.
It's about how they are going about their daily lives. Sometimes I get requests. Somebody's asking me, please send me 200 bob. So me, I wonder, 200 bob, 200 Kenya shillings, what will it do to you? Yeah?
Yes.
And say, oh, I don't want my children to sleep hungry, but to me, 200 bob. So you can imagine, I mean, personally, because if I go, say, to a restaurant, I can't even get water for 200 bob.
It depends where that restaurant is.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
Yes.
the kind of restaurants that
Correct. And you make a point that that one
that's
is everything
for that person.
that kind of
But
person.
for me,
Yes.
if I go to my kind of restaurant,
Yes.
I know 200 shillings cannot